conversion, information confrontation, hybrid warfare, these words have long been part of the vocabulary of many Europeans, and we know a particular country that destabilizes Europe. But what do all these twisted words and scare stories about a hybrid war mean? The one after which a conventional war follows with bombs, airplanes and glide bombs. And for us, ordinary people, it means a constant flow of information that screams from our screens. Не все так однозначно. For example, Germany is constantly suffering from such attacks from an unnamed country. Wait, no, everyone knows that. Straightforward, it is Russia, committing sabotage in Europe and generally behaving very aggressively. Could they be planning to start a war in Europe? Oh yeah, they already freaking done it. According to a study by the Ukrainian Center for Countering Disinformation, the main media outlets spreading Russian info trash in Germany are Berliner Zeitung and, antispiegel.ru. Who would have thought that the .ru website ending could lead to an inadequate resource? For example, an article from January 23, 2024, entitled "Ukraine Media Association Complains of Attacks on Journalists," refers to the alleged lack of freedom of speech in Ukraine. On February 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, it became difficult for journalists who criticized the government. The Berliner Zeitung article was also cited by Russian media, including Russia Today, to discredit the Ukrainian government. It is important to note that the spring and summer of 2024 are the peak of Russia's media campaign to create disorder inside Ukraine and in partner countries. The Washington Post has published documents that may indicate about this. And Germany is perhaps Ukraine's most important partner in Europe. That is why it is subject to constant information attacks. Another example of pro-Russian material in the Berliner Zeitung article of December 16, 2023, with the headline "Silence of the US and NATO on Russian Letters" of December 17, 2021. Thus, the article promotes the narrative invented by the Russians that their war against Ukraine was provoked by the EU and US due to failure to fulfill security promises to Russia. As for antispiegel.ru media, if you can even call this media, we can say that its main talking head is Thomas Roper, a German pro-Russian journalist. He recently interviewed Ukraine's traitor and former Secret Service officer Vasyl Prozorov about the black market for weapons in Ukraine and constant war crimes of the Ukrainian military. Who is this Roper? Since 1992, Roper has been living in Russia and running the Kremlin-backed Anti-Spiegel blog, which is registered in Russia. What a surprise! He regularly visits the occupied territory of Ukraine and was also noticed as an independent foreign observer of the pseudo-referendums organized by Russia in September 2022. In addition, Roper accuses the Ukrainian military of using civilians as human shields and claims that the majority of the population of the temporarily occupied city of Melitopol supports Russia's special military operation. He claims that the shelling of the maternity hospital in Mariupol was a staged propaganda campaign by the Ukrainians. Kim.com is another representative of the German-Russian movement. He is a supporter of the position Ukraine has been bombing Donbass for 8 years and tells myth about the destruction of the Russian-speaking population and NATO biolabs in Ukraine. He blames the war on NATO's expansion policy and US imperialism, and Russians, of course, are the most peaceful people in the world and do not attack anyone first. It is not even worth talking about the consequences of such information work to convince Germans that they shouldn't support Ukraine and that Russian tanks on the border with Poland will be very peaceful, with funny posters about friendship between nations. Sure. What can we conclude about Russia's influence on Germany? According to the research of the Center for Countering Disinformation, no matter how pathetic these propagandists may look, they have an impact on Germans. They also have political support in the form of the AfD party, Alternative for Germany. Members of this political force have been recently banned from EU elections for far-right and destructive political views. Anyway, the battle for the hearts and minds of people in Germany is very far from being over, even if we might think that it is obvious who is the real bully in this situation. Stay informed.